Is it working? Is it working? Oh, I can hear myself. Oh no. Monitor off. Oh no. Where is it coming from? Let's see, let's see, let's see. Where am I hearing myself? Oh, I see. There we go. That should work. That should work. I was hearing myself. Anyways, Hi everyone! Hi everyone! Let me move chat a little bit. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? We have Pokemon Infinite Fusion here. Yeah, I got multi-streaming to work so I can actually stream to both YouTube and Twitch. Hi Spirit! Is it Spirit? LTTV. Hello! Hi, Balls. Balls. Oh, and I need to message one more person. There we go. Balls. Them big swinging balls. Hi, Jojo. Hello. Hello. It's coming, Neff. Okay. Hi, Neff. I'll need to memorize Neff. Neff. Oh, why is my follower girl down there? It's whatever. Okay. Anyways, let's get started. Press any key. F1. F1? What does that do? Oh, I can do key bindings. Let's see. Should I get my controller for this? I should probably get that. That should be easy to connect if I have. There it is. Ah, I got it. I have to unwrap it. But how are you guys doing? I got up early today. Well, I got up early like every day. So I got... Hold on. 7. Okay, let's attach this. Eek. There we go. Let's see if this works. Okay. Yeah, it works. It works. It works. Okay. I just need to move everything out the way. A new game. I played this before, but I never really completed it, so maybe I'll complete it with you guys. What is this? A randomized mode? Classic. Let's do classic. Default game mode. All of the players, teams, and encounters are based on the original games. Every Pokemon is still available. Should we do classic? Randomized might be actually fun though. Or remix. What's remix? Changes all of the trainer teams and wild encounters to showcase more Pokemon from newer generations. Nah, I want like an equal amount, I think. Let's do... Oh, and let me move my Vtuber just a little bit. Eek. There we go. Hi, Striker! Hi, Dad. Hello. What's randomized? Okay, all the trainers, wild encounters, and items can be randomized. You'll get to customize exactly how you want everything to be randomized. Oh, let's do this. Let's do this. Max that adds smaller baby girl. Max that. I'm confused. I am confused. Okay, random. Name. Okay, let me type. Miho. Press enter to confirm. Okay. We are not male, we are female. Age, we are... Well, 13 years out of the rock. Kind of. But like, we've been alive for a while, so I don't know what to put. Can we do 0? I'll put like 16. Oh, it can go higher? I guess 17. E. Read your wiki. I haven't read my own wiki. Do we have blue hair? Blonde hair is kind of cute, actually. I'm gonna do the blonde hair. Mom. Is this information correct? Sure, whatever. Oh, and these are kind of covering. Where should I put the chat? You probably can't even see that, but like... Oh, thank you. I have a wiki. Yeah. I'm reading now. Yeah, I'm very old, which is what I already knew, but like, there's no option for that number. Yeah. Top corner. I looked at the top corner. Am I missing something? Say the age out loud. Fine. You're gonna make fun of me. It's 69, 420, 808. Yes, that much. 69 million, 420,000, 808. Don't make fun of me. Boob number. Stop. I'm being harassed. Okay, randomizer settings. Wait, what am I doing? Pokemon 1-to-1 individually. I guess global. Custom sprites only. I like custom sprites, but I also like the regular things. So, allow legendaries. Only legendaries can be randomized into legendaries. Let's do that, because otherwise it gets like cheaty. Starters are not randomized. Starters can be any Pokemon first stage. Let's do this first stage. Static encounters, randomized Pokemon that appear in the overworld, including legendaries. Let's see. Yeah. Gift Pokemon. Let's do that. Fuse everything. No. I wanna fuse them. Confirm. Items. Found items. Let's do that. Randomize. No, not the TMs. Given items, maybe? No. Let's just do that. Gym trainers on. Custom sprites only? No. Re-randomize each battle. Off. Let's do that. And I think that's good. Choose randomness degree. Let's do moderate. Starts on. Okay, I think these are good settings. Are these settings correct? Yes. The wild Pokemon have been shuffled. Shuffle time. Let's do normal difficulty. Autosave, yes. Let's do in file A. Yeah, let's go over file A. Boobs. Silphco is now Silphco. That sounds familiar. Is now proud to announce new product that will revolutionize Pokemon battling. Introducing DNA splicers. Makes it easier to fuse Pokemon together than ever before. Okay, we create new species. Let's see what happens here. Select any two Pokemon, use your DNA splicers on them. Just watch the magic happen before your eyes. I like this music. Silpho's apple of Pokemon. Tell me I'm wrong. Honestly, you're probably right in this case. Fierce Pokemon can learn moves from both halves, which give them an edge over regular Pokemon. Now try it on your very own Pokemon. This is genetic stuff. Just available to the public. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. That was a flying Rattata. Okay. Oh, we have the blonde hair. That's cute. We have a messy hair. Is that a Wii? PS5? Is it me or the PS5? Umi Miho! Oh, so you're still in your pajamas. Go get dressed. I have something to show you. Why? Favorite outfit? Yes. Okay. You can set hats and clothes with your favorites and use this quickly. Blah, blah, blah. Let's change clothes. Pikachu pajamas. Oh, they're so cute. Why can't I be in my pajamas? Bum. Okay. Cancel. Wait. Where? Cancel. Let's get a hat. Should I get the hat? Yeah. Confirm. Hat time. Okay. What else is there around here? PC. Mailbox. There's no mail here. Item storage. Withdraw. We have a potion! I knew it. I knew there had to be something. Exit. Turn off. Shelves are filled with various books. Let's continue on. Umi Miho, we received a letter for you. It's from the Pokemon League. Here, open it. Dear Umi Miho, we're pleased to announce that your Pokemon League application has been accepted. You're hereby recognized as an official Pokemon trainer, and you may now earn badges. And you now earn badges to take part in the Pokemon League challenge. You'll find your trainer card attached to this letter. It's from the IRS. She owes $20 in back taxes. Oopsies. I don't know what taxes are, bro. Oh no, we're getting botted again. We wish you the best of luck, the Pokemon League admission board. So what did it say? Accept your Pokemon trainer application. Okay, I'll crop it. I'll crop it. It's just I can't see the chat otherwise. Womp. Let's cover this. Where should I... You're tiny. I'm trying to make it kind of to size. No one asked. I'm so proud of you. Oh, isn't the boy next door receiving his first Pokemon as well? I overheard Professor O talking about it. What's that name that everyone calls him again? What should we call him? What should we call him? I know a name. I know a name, actually. Y'all see if this is a good name. Dingus. Ignore that Spearow guy. You got a ball forehead. Call him Tupac. Alright. Tupac Shakira. Fine. You know, Obamna. Tupac Obamna. There we go. I think that's a good combination of names. Yes, that's right. Well, I'm sure that you and Tupac Obamna, I'm also gonna move my VTuber a little more. Eek. Hopefully I'm not too out of the way. I'm gonna move myself back. Eek. Okay, he's gonna drop a diss track on the next president. Okay. Go have fun on your adventure. Yes. I want to fuse all the Pokemon. Wait, idea. What's the idea? Put chat above the ad. Okay. Okay. Bro. Bro, the stream died because I tried to move chat. I'm gonna hide this. Make the ad small and down. Move the chat. Don't crash. Oh my gosh. Why did I have to crash? Yo, Miho, now's not the time. Now is not the time. Did stream die? Yes. No, it died because my OBS crashed. It likes to crash a lot. I don't know why. Okay, yo, Miho. Yeah, it's all Tupac's fault. Is everything okay on yours end? Okay. Guess who just got accepted as an official Pokemon trainer? That's right, me. Huh? You got a letter too? I'm surprised they let you in. I assume they had higher standards. Shut the fuck up. Sorry. Language. It's all Tupac Obamna's fault. See ya, I don't care about what you have to say anymore, because you insulted me and my mother. What is over here? What is this? Professor Oak Research Lab, okay. Ugly face. Stop bothering me. Shut up. I don't like you. I'm gonna choose a Pokemon. No, I can't choose a Pokemon? Okay, fine. We have to defeat Tupac Obamna. He's evil and he's horrible. Wait, don't go out. It's unsafe. Wild Pokemon live in tall grass. Yeah, I need you to give me my Pokemon. Gosh. I'm fed up with waiting. Tupac Obamna? Let me think. Oh, that's right. I told you to come. Just wait. Okay, they're inside the balls. Be patient, Tupac Obamna. You can have one too. Okay, let's choose our Pokemon. Ew. No. Carvana, also, ew. No. Oh, Ghastly's interesting. I like Ghastly. I don't want Egg. Jojo lives in tall grass and she seems fine. What should I name Ghastly? Spooky. Spooks. Let's try that. So you choose Ghastly, huh? So I guess I'll take the other two and try it. What? That's unfair! He's not allowed to do that. But, what? That was my last pair. Why? This is... he's biased. What the heck? Good luck! Okay, shut up. Not so fast. Miho. Okay, this is unfair. He's gonna defeat me. This is not fair. Even Mint Phantom. Oh, it's too late. Spooks McGee. Oh. That's kind of horrifying. Let's fight. Lick? I don't know what Lick does. Lick. Oh, it does a lot of damage. Lick again. Kill. And he's paralyzed. Oh, but he can use Bite. This Tupac Obamna, and I paid him $40. I always knew I was better. Shut up. Smell you later. Okay. Wet fart. What the heck? I need to pick up a parcel at Viridian. Why am I doing your chores? You didn't even give me the last one. Got to pick it up earlier. Okay. Kill him with hammers. Exactly, he's cheating. And what happened to my Pokemon? Oh, he's still alive somehow. I'm pressing A. I need to remember it's B. We're going to Viridian Sea. Let's get a Pokemon. Lotad. Let's practice fighting. Lick. Astonish. We're gonna die. What's Spite? I should have read up on these. Hypnosis? Let's do that. I missed! Spooks, you're not helping me. Spooks, we're gonna die. Okay, he's paralyzed. Lick again. Keep licking him. And I dropped $40! I'm losing all my money. Spooks, I dislike you. I dislike you. You made me lose twice. Spooks, why would you do this? Did you randomize the run? I did. Oh, we went the wrong way. Oh, this is a good Pokemon. But I don't have any Pokeballs. Do I have Pokeballs? I don't. I have a potion. Lick. Okay. What's Spite? Reduce the PP. I didn't want to reduce PP. His PP. Lick the PP. What am I doing? Lick. I'm gonna die again and lose $40. This is not fair! Spooks, you failure. Spooks. Spooks. Okay, we're not gonna fight any Pokemon then. We're just gonna run. God damn it. Okay. My cursor. Oh my gosh, okay. Scissor's good, but he's level 2, so let's... Okay. Spooks, you have to kill him. Hypnosis. It missed. You are so useless, Spooks. Lick him. Bullet punch! Bro, he just punched the shit out of us. Sorry, language. We killed our first Pokemon! Yeah, level 6! What are you? Hello? I work at Pokemon Mart. Please visit it. Blah blah. Potion! Yay, potion seller. The strat? Okay, we need to find Scissor's a bunch. But I think they're all randomized, so we can't find them that easy. I'm not gonna fight. Oh, never mind. Low tide. Okay, let's do Hypnosis first. And then he sleeps, and then we lick him to death. He woke up that fast! Okay. Run. We can't afford to lose again. Heavy ball. We got a ball. What's this way? Nothing. Scissor will be... It's randomized based off area, not like 100%. Okay, so he might show up. Okay, let's see. Scissor? No, low tad. Oh, but he's level 2, so this should be easy. If you can catch a scissor, you can fuse and make Ghastly not suck. True. Hypnosis. Lick him. Lick him again. We are so goated. That 10? That's it? Use. Spooks, you are so useless I had to use my potion. Potion seller. Oh. What happens if she finds a Vaporeon? That's the dream. Did you know? Okay, let's Hypnosis and then lick him to death again. We gotta gain that XP. Oh, that does a lot of damage. Oh, God. Come on. What's down this way? Nothing. Viridian City, yeah. Oh, my hair. My hair is the door. Pokemart. Do I even have any money after this? I lost like so much. parcel. Okay, and then I have to go back. DNA splicer, thank you. Give me Pokeball. Give me Pokeball. Give me Pokeball. What is so useless? Oh my gosh. Let's go. Let's go all the way back. Oh my gosh, more Pokemon. Oh! Hopplet. It's a Diglett and a Hoppet. Hypnosis. They missed. Oh god. Lick. Absorb. This is so unfair, chat. Put him to sleep. Lick him to death. Oh, this is easy. This is easy win. Come on, come on. 31. Yes. Yeah, let's go. Is there more Pokemon? Yes, the last grass. Rattata. Just a regular Rattata. Okay, quick attack. It missed. It fired again. And it missed. Lick. It doesn't affect. Oh, because he's normal type, we have to run. Okay. Go back to the useless professor. It's already nighttime and this is unsafe. Fine, here's your parcel. Custom Pokeball. I'll give you some Pokeballs. Yeah. You know, if you could find a room with a lot of normal types, you could probably level up fast because they can't hit you. But I can't hit them back. That's the problem. Hi, Shrimp Fried Weiss. What the heck? The username. Hello, how you doing? Thank you for following. Put the Pokeballs away. There's another thing. Pokédex. Okay, thank you. I know. That's a lot of species. Tell me a shrimp fried that Weiss? I guess so. I guess that's what must have happened. Let's go. Back to Viridian City. Lava. This one's a good one. That's a starter. Lick. I don't want to kill him though. I'm gonna lick him twice. God. Why do I say this? It's the armpit enjoyer. The evil villain. Evil villain. He is back. The licker of pits. That's what I'm doing right now. Apparently. Pokeballs. Let's use this. The lava. The lava might be a good one. I want to make a cute party. God. Pokeball, go! Let's just catch him, please. The lava! He's too what to be caught? We're gonna kill him. Kill. Kill. Leer. Ricky. Yeah, we need to evolve into a Haunter or something. Or fuse with something. I don't know at this point. Oh, I went the wrong way. Kill. Venipede. I like Venipede. Lick. We're almost out of PP. Oh, that did a lot of damage. Bag. Pokeball. And then I want to fuse them. Hell yeah, look at that! Sorry, language. Look at that. Pee-pee. Sprites! Which sprite? Oh, I like the classic. No, I like this sprite a lot. Yeah. Bug poison. Spadungus. Spading? What should we name? I didn't set a title. Why? Why? Where? What? Hayaki. Hello, Shabingus. Is it... Hold on. It says there's a title. Okay, this should hopefully work. Updated. Okay, this should work. Yaki! Mother! Okay. Bing. Shabing. Let's fuse. We need to defeat the evil. Fuse. Fuse. Spooks. Let's do... Poison ghost or bug poison? Which one's better? We need to do the fusion dance. This one looks like it's more Venipede. First one. Okay, let's do the first one. Shabing. Pokemon being fused. Ooh. Da 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 da. Oh. What the fuck? What the fuck? He's so ugly, chat. He's so ugly. I thought it would look cool. I really thought it would look cool. Shabing. Oh. Wait, go back. Dang it. Keep Venipedes. Okay. Shabing, you are so beautiful. Okay. You also carry Pokeballs. Thanks. You didn't let me... Oh my gosh, why did I do this again? No, stop. Shabing. Shabing is so... God. You're so ugly. He's so... I thought I was gonna have a party of cute Pokemon. Oh my gosh. Yo, we're strong though. Can we infuse them and try the other one? Can we? I don't know if we can. Hold on. I think we need an unfuser. Yeah, we need an unfuser thing. I think I remember that being a thing. Like it costs. Oh, let's go to the store and fix him. Hello. You're a Pokemon trainer. I'm a new trainer too. Oh, now I have to battle her. Why? I don't want to battle you. I'm dealing with regrets of being a mother. Oh no. I don't like that his face. I really don't. Let's keep rolling out. Easy. Destroy. He's just a ball. And a face. And we leveled up. Or something. We got 64. I got money. Oh, Shabing only has 10 HP. Ratata. Shabing, you gotta do this. Destroy. Oh, this is not working. This is really not working. You should have... I don't know if there was an option if you use movesets. Was that an option? Cause this moveset kind of sucks. Shabing. Okay, I need to heal Shibing and his a beautiful form. Yes. Thank you for waiting. Okay, Pokemart, do you have the unfusers? What do you have? Hello. Gift. Yamask. Goated, Yamask. Ya boy. Yeah. How many yeah. How may I serve you? Bye. Okay, we don't have unsplicers. But... Can I... No, I don't want 9. Let's do 3. I know. There's so many things I could have done, but I had to be stuck with Shibing. Oh my gosh. Ugh. I'm gonna break into these houses now. Oh, you're a class? Hello. Do you want to know something cool about berries? When a Pokemon eats of berries, it will automatically hold another one if you have more. Ooh, okay, this is good. Wear this one on your head. Hell yeah, I could wear it. Yes, let's wear it. Blueberry, blue ball. Oh, a thing. Oh, and then I have to fight him? Check this out. Oh, he fused his Pokemon. This is... What kind of combination? Speargy. Oh, okay, that looks actually normal. I can't get over his face. Hi, Lakota. Hello. Look at my hideous boy. He is beautiful. Shibing. Heal up. You're making me waste potions, Shibing. On a regular trainer battle. This is supposed to be super effective. It's like doing nothing. Yeah. Kill. This is all Tupac's fault. Like, completely. He started this, and now I'm stuck with this horrible creature. Pokeball! Oh, there's another battle. Are you going to a Pokemon League? Yes, if I wasn't interrupted. Okay, regular Pidgey, Shibing. Oh, I learned moves. Mom. Okay, this is good. Mustafa. Ratpy. I'm gonna keep your boy for like... No, I'm not done with Shibing. Switching. Cancel. Fire moments. Hello, Monique. Hello. Okay. Bye, Monique. I got monies. Look at that. Give me these berries. Heavy ball. There's nothing there. There's something here, though. Heavy ball. Timer ball. Let's get all these Pokemon. Here, you can have these. Oh, DNA splicers! Yes! Let's see what Pokemon are here. Oh, you're also... You're something. You're kinda... interesting looking. Why is my playthrough filled with ugly Pokemon? I thought I had cute things like Sylveon and... I don't know. Just cute Pokemon. And I'm stuck with Bondum and Shabing. Let's see. Riolu! Oh, you're cute. You're cute. Maybe. Heavy Ball? Catching very heavy Pokemon. I don't think you're heavy, so I'm gonna Pokeball. I know I didn't do any health, but like he's level 3. God damn it. Quick attack, Shabing! Your boy switching. Oh, look at it. Charm. Water gun. Okay, let's do a regular tackle. And then try again. We need to catch as many Pokemon as we can. Yes! There we go. Come on. I like this sprite. Fighting type. Riolu? You are... What should I name him? What should I name him? Riz. Yeah, Riz. It's a temporary name. It's a work in progress, because we are going to attempt to fuse... or unfuse, probably. Oh! Banana. Oh, more Pokemon. Great. Oh, you're cute. Teddy Ursa. Shabing. Switch to ya boy. Come on, ya boy. Oh, he has Lick too. Oh, Mummy. What does Mummy do? Oh. Special defense. Okay, we're paralyzed. This sucks. Baby doll eyes. Attack fell. Oh, he is strong. Pokeball. Let's try. Failure. Okay, replace any ability that hits the Pokemon. Oh. Tackle again. Oh, your boy's gonna die. Let's use a timer ball. 1, 2, 3. Yes. And I'm gonna combine Riolu and Teddy Ursa, I think. Disable. This one's a cute. Teddy Ursa. Ursula. Yes. Let's combine Pokemon Riz fuse with Ursula. This one looks cute. They're the same things, but like... Which one? I kinda like this one, but like... Skinny body or chubby body? What should I do? I'm not sure. Let's do this one. Let's fuse. Come on. Oh, that is cute! Real Ursa! cute. Ursula. Pickups raises speed. You pick up items. Let's do the pickup. Plus minus attack. Let's do Rash. Combine movesets. What does Foresight do? Hit a ghost type. Well, I have Lick, so I can hit a ghost type. Baby doll eyes. Fake tears. Let's do replace fake tears. Quick attack instead of yeah, quick attack instead of scratch. It's the same thing practically. Endure. What does endure do? Endure is good. It's better than Foresight. Okay, cancel. Let's go. Oh! Hello? Forget about it. You probably don't have any badges. Did your Pokemon get any stronger? No. He's gonna bully me again. Nido G. Shabing. Just roll out. Just keep rolling out. Easy. Shabing, why do you have to look like that? Car cute? Let's test out our new Pokemon. Ursula. Oh, ugly man. I forget. The piranha eggs. Quick attack. Oh, that didn't do that much. Oh, rough skin. Baby doll eyes. Endure. Lick. And then we die. We must die. Shabing, it's your turn. Shabing. You have to roll out. Autobots. Autobots roll out. Oh no. Unfortunately, they are bots. They are a lot of bots. Well. We are gonna die. What's disable do? I don't know. Okay. Your boy. Obamna. And then I paid him $80. Obamna. This is all your fault, Obamna. I don't hope to see you again. What is this? You've seen Spearow? Yes, I have, but I don't have it. Okay. Pokemon, let's switch. Shipping with Ursula. We need to practice. Ursula, you're too weak. Hello, person. Grandpa. Hello. Nidoran's nickname. What is it? Nidoran. I have a terrible headache. Okay, they're just ignoring his headache. That's fine. There's a gym. We haven't even done the gym yet. Okay, Root. Let's fight just regular Pokemon. Okay. Easy. Oh, my neck hurts. I'm like shrimp. Hop it. Quick attack. Absorb. That did a lot of damage. Quick attack again. Splash. Quick attack. Oh, okay, that was good. We're just gonna keep battling. Hop-bips! We're decimating the local Hop-bip population. Quick attack. Check DMs. Okay, I have a lot of DMs. Okay. Mom. Quick attack. Endure? No. Lick. Quick attack again. It's a cute Riolu, what do you mean? I know he's so stubby and cute. He's adorable. Quick attack. Destroy. Quick attack again. I'm losing all my PP. Yay, level up. Banana. Any splicers? Let's use an orange berry. Or should we go back? Let's go back and heal. Heal Tritty Man. Let's go back. Okay. Heal time. Da da da. Hi Jojo. Hi. Okay, let's go this way again. Oh, wait, I went around. Timer ball. It's a fucking bird I like. Yeah. It's a bird. Hop it, destroy, decimate, kill. Don't lick him. It did nothing. Quick attack. It just splashes. Level up. Level 5. Bird up. Bird up. Venipede. I like Venipede. Quick attack. Kill. Oh, now we're poisoned. I'll get Taco Bell. I'm not a fan of Taco Bell, so I'm fine. Oh no, we're poisoned. Let's go back. Survive the poison. That's kind of dark. Heal. Yes, heal my Ursula. Who are you? Fusing Pokemon's a lot of fun. That's fine. That's fine. Mom. Ah, I'm stuck. Quick attack. Don't kill him. Don't kill him. I need... You don't understand. I have an idea. I have an idea. I have an idea. Endure. Baby doll eyes. No, I meant to... Okay. Baby doll eyes. The baby. The baby. Okay, use the timer ball. Yes, let's go! Let's go! My favorite Pokemon. What's the cutest? Oh, this is pretty cute. They're all so cute. The sitting one was pretty cute. The baby. The baby. Okay. Heal. We have to keep doing this. Like every time. Doopy-doo. Heal. The baby. We also need to train up the baby. The baby. The sweet boy. Switch. There we go. Go back. We need to train up our boys. Train them up. Riolu! Go to baby. It's so cute. He only knows tackle. Just keep doing it. It's working. Baby was identified. Too late. More Riolus. The baby. Just keep doing it. It's gotta work. It's the baby. I forgot there was a rapper named that. He's the baby. Endure. Defeat his ass. Yippee. Hop-bip. Tackle. Tackle. You splash. No, this one knows how to fight. Run. I need to heal the baby. Or should I switch? I need one of those EXP things. Regular. I don't have one. Hello, hun135. Hello, how you doing? Top your hop-bip abuser, exactly. Cancel. I need to heal the baby, the cutie pie. Is my favorite boy. My favorite Pokemon, and I got him in like the first 2 routes. Yes, you can. You can suggest names. Please do. I don't have good names sense. Okay, let's go this way. What your fusions so far? Since we just started, we have Shabing. Let's look at him. Oh, we can unfuse. I really want to unfuse him because look at him. I'm ashamed that he exists. Unfuse. Oh, I should have unfused. He's a... What does that mean? Oh, I don't know buttons. Yes, unfusing. Try again. Fuse. This one also looks weird. Let's try it. Let's try it. Fusing it with the baby. Oh, that might have been a good idea. Let's see how this turns out. Otherwise, we'll buy new ones. Oh! Oh, he looks normal. Gaspy. Okay, let's try this. Poison point. Yes, let's do that. Let's do mild. Combine movesets. Okay, let's keep... What does Screech do? Let's do hypnosis. And... Poison Sting. Let's replace Poison Sting. The Freaky Bug. Oh, I should have gotten rid of Defense Curl? That probably... Yeah. Oh, it only raises defense. It doesn't actually... I don't know why I thought it, like, actually blocked the hit or something. Poison Sting was good. Dang it. No, Spite sucks. I think. In my opinion. Give up on learning Spite. Yeah. Mean Look. There's so many options. Unable to flee. Yeah. I don't think I need that unless there's a legendary. Okay. Gaspede. Can I rename? Nickname. What should I name? Gaspede instead of Shabing. Keep it. Oh, it's too late. It's too late. I shrink. I'm so sorry. Yeah, the chat is slow a little bit. I don't know why. What should Gaspede be? Like named, I guess. Gloomipede. Let's do Gloomy. Biggie Smalls. Gloomy Smalls. I'll combine the names. We'll fuse the names. Okay, there we go. It's a demon. Kill it. Don't kill it. Okay, let's continue to fight. The baby. What if I fuse him with the Hoppip? But they have like Splash, that's kind of useless, and like Absorb, and that's it. The baby only has Tackle. Yeah, Gloomy Smalls is gonna... Absorb is good, true. Oh, this is bad. Do I have enough Pokeball? I don't have a Pokeball that I would like to use. Let's maybe run or tackle. I'll just tackle. Yeah, okay, good choice. Okay, that didn't do enough. I'm running. I think ship it. Okay. Ship it. Let me get Pokeballs after I heal. Marked. That ship it be. Buy Pokeball. Let's get like 10. Cancel. Wait. What do you have? Do you have anything for me? Okay, no, you're useless. Are you using voice filter? No. No. I just have a high-pitched voice. And it's not even that high, honestly. Like I've heard there's like people that are like even higher than me. Like voice-wise. The baby? Or should I get another Venipede? My teacher has it bad. Oh, like a high-pitched voice? Roll out. Tackle. Keep tackling. I'm 50 with a voice changer. Oh, the baby! Bag. Banana. The baby! The baby, you are getting switched like now. Yeah, I need like better noise suppression. Actually, hold on. NVIDIA broadcast. Oh, not control panel. NVIDIA broadcast. Let's try this. Let's see if this works. Ah. Noise removal. I'm gonna go. Does it detect? I am. Wait, cause. Yeah, cause the high quality OBS one it sucks. But like, I have a loud keyboard and stuff. Still cuts out. Ew! Dang. I'm trying my best. Okay, does it? Okay, I'm like trying to make like high-pitched noises and I feel like it's still cutting out. Let me test. Keyboard and no Umi? Okay, well you're gonna hear a lot of sounds then. Filters. Wait, oh, I forgot to turn off this. Okay, it's working, it's working. I think it's working. Ba 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 ba. Cause last time when I used NVIDIA broadcast, it kind of like would cut out a lot. Okay, quick attack. Oh, that did a lot of damage. Okay, let's get a Hoppip. Get a Pokeball. You hear wind? Yeah, you do hear wind. Let me see. Let me monitor. Yeah, you could hear me. Okay, it works. I'm not a windy creature. Hold on. It's so weird hearing myself. Oh, thank you, hon. Where's... Okay, monitor off. There we go. I got EXP points. Counter. Yes? What move should be forgotten? Retaliation move, inflicting double the damage. Is that good? Wow. Okay, get rid of Endure. Let's get rid of Endure. Okay. I like this Hoppip. This Hoppip's cuter. I like the pale pink. Pippi. And then it's gonna... I'm gonna combine them and call them Shipippi. Hoppip is drunk. Crawl. Pippi and the baby must fuse. Grass electric seems good. I like that. I like that. Because it keeps the cat form. Da 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 da. Wait. Oh. Oh, his eyes. His eyes. He lost his cute eyes. But he's... punks. Oh, there's multiple. I like this one. There's not a thought behind those eyes. That's true. Rivalry. Boost Pokemon speed and sunshine. Pippi. Careful. Quirky. No, I like quirky. I got the fix for you. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna see how this works. Filters. Okay, limiter. Okay, I'll do exactly this. 60. Noise suppression up here. Speaks. Negative 58. Gain. Add gain. Gain under limiter and gain by negative 1.8. Okay. Is this good? I am the wind. Bro. He's quirky. He is... They do get a little quirky at night. Okay. 6, 7... 8, 9... Where's my game? There it is. Okay, chlorophyll, quirky. Combined move sets, yes. Learn absorb and splash, which is kind of useless. Whoopee! Whoopee, you died! You died instantly! The animatronics do get a little quirky at night. I get quirky at night. Okay, let's rest them. Mom. Mom. Okay. Let's test this out. Let's test it out. Go Ursula. Okay. Well, I guess Ursula's fine. Let's change Pokemon. Pippi! Pippi. Is it fixed? Yay! Venipi. Buckle. Oh, roll out is kinda... That's a lot. Whip out the pip. Hey, I'm 4'11". I'll have you know. I'm not 4'2". No! Now you're getting smaller. Pippi! Pippi! No! Okay, let's switch out. Ursula. Ursula, we need you. I'm not sure. Come on. Okay. Quick attack. Kill. Destroy. Okay, let's just level up Ursula because Pippi. Pippi. Quick attack. Let's keep this level going. Am I missing anything else? Okay. No. 31 EXP. I had to kill a baby! Wait, what if I make my party all Shinxes? Is that a good idea? Hippie. Kill it, it's a demon baby. No, it's my baby. It's my favorite Pokemon. Shinx only run? Maybe. No, Pippi. Gloomy Smalls was the dad. Striker, I guess. Okay, catch the Shinx. I need the Shinx. And I need that EXP share thing. Shinx. Sphinx. Oh, enter. Sphinx. Ya boy and Sphinx? Should I do ya boy and Sphinx? Let's heal up. Yeah, the moment you use 6-7, you lose your age privileges. It's it's the rules. Oh, what is going on? Hello. Bo. Teddy Ursa again. Go Ursula. Go. Shocked. Why shocked? Pokemon, let's switch in Pippi. Pippi, you better be useful. Otherwise, you're getting unfused. Pippi, the boy. Okay, don't die. Do not die. Oh, that didn't really do much. That like did one. That did literally one. Tackle. Oh, you're not doing very good. Okay, I'm gonna switch you out. Pippi, you're getting replaced by Sphinx. Sphinx. Look, it's so cute. It's so cute. Tackle. Wait. Oh, baby, you're getting demolished. Sphinx. Okay, Ursula, it's time. Fuse shine this Shinx to Shinx. I think that would just be double Shinx. I don't know if it does anything. Sub to your OnlyFans, lock in. I am locking in. Yeah, it's hand holding pics. It's very cute. Okay. Sphinx survived. But I need to heal them. What, Sphinx and Pippi, you guys are not very useful. I thought you would have like electric attacks, but no. Mom. Shinx. Unfused Pippi, you are getting unfused. Wait. I can't, because I don't have any... Pippi is holding... I didn't want that. Pippi, let go. Let go of the ball. Take. Item... Take. Full heal. Oh, that's useful, I think. Does it full heal? Yeah, I need to buy some splicers, but I think I spent it all on Pokeballs. I'm gonna go in. Let's see. Hello. Yeah, I don't have money. Broke as fuck. Is there anyone in here that could give me money? They'll evolve if you could get them up to level 40. Hello. Help me. No. I need something out of it. I'm literally gonna bully these children. Child. I acquired some knowledge by looking at the globe. Amazing. There's a wiki for the game. Nice. I can't bully the children. Who are you? You're a trainer, right? You should go to Pokemon League. I can't. Can I re-battle? Okay, how are my Pokemon? Pippi? You're not very good. I'm sorry to say. DMs. Okay. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. I think we could defeat a Hoppip. Okay. It's not very effective. That didn't really work. We barely absorbed anything and they absorbed like so much. Eat the Shinx. I'm not gonna eat the Shinx. That's... well, he does look like a little radish or something. So maybe. We're bullying the Hoppip slowly. Very slowly, and then just throw in a little splash. I think shiny hunting would be kind of hard. Maybe Hoppip, but that's it. I don't know if they do have shinies, do they? Demolish. Absorb, actually. We need to heal up a little bit. Take that back. Take it back. Okay, Pokemon Ursula, switch in. Slalid. Wait, that's new. That's a better Hoppip. Should I get it? Nah. Pippi learned synthesis! Yes! Pokemon, can I use synthesis out of the bag? No. Scissor? Oh, we could go back. Yeah. Oh god. No! Oh, what the fuck is that? Billet. That's a rare one, I think. I'm running. I need to heal Pippi. And then we're gonna see if we can get Scissor. Tubby? Yes, heal. Okay, hold on. Route 1, okay. Let's stay here and see if we can get Scizor. Lotad. Pippi, you can defeat him. Let's do absorb. Because he... Okay, yeah. I didn't do that much, but a little more. Tackle. Oh, growl. Low tide kind of looks like a plate. Peru. Oh, astonish did a lot. Okay, absorb. Okay, that heals. Kill him! Kill him now. Now. Come on, you can do one. Oh, yeah! Level 5. Leer. No. I can take a wishes! Hello, oh my gosh, you're throwing it back in my chat. Ban. Ban. Hi, how are you? I need Dig Soul. We need the Absol. Okay, we gotta do this. Pokeball, go. Striker never says my name right. No, dang it, Dig Soul. We need Absol from you. Had to mean wishes. Dang it. Why are you so hard to get? Stop! It does. It really does look like it could solo 100 lions, but also, like, it's not the smartest. Premier Ball. Sure. Would you like a special ball, please? Please? Dang it! I don't know if we could get it. I don't know. Okay, stop. You're gonna kill my baby. Ursula, go. Come on, come on. I'm using all my Pokeballs. I just want Absol. Great, great, the edging. Base catch rate very low. Okay, dang it. Large HP and use strong Pokeball. Would a heavy Pokeball work? Heavy ball. Otherwise, we have to kill him. We have to kill him. We have to kill him. I'm sorry, but I have to kill him. He wasted all my Pokeballs. Bye, Dig Soul. Tail Whip, no. Okay, Pokemon. Pippi, you're getting switched. Spinks, actually, we need to level up. And then put Ursula next. Here we go. Mods with hammers! Kill him. Kill him. Okay, Venipede. Spinks Tackle. Dang, his poison point. I knew that would happen. I just realized what? His name is Spinks. Yes, it's Spinks. No, it's Spinks. No, Spinky. No, that's not what I meant to do. God dang it. Spinks. Wait, no, I don't want to go this way. Spinks, why do you do this to yourself? There's a random pop in the mic? I don't know, it could be this USB, I don't know. Because it's a USB mic. Run. Pokemon Center? Pokemon Center? Pokemon Center? Pokemon Center. Hello. There's no Pokemon Center. This is a scam. My hometown is a scam. I cry. I'm saying P. P. Pa, 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 pa. Like if I pop my P's, it doesn't work. Pa, 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 pa. Blade tall grass. Well, I kind of have to go, yeah, see through tall grass. Lotad, Motad, Holiday Inn. Kill him now. Let's see if we could get that Scizor. Or you! Dig back. All these Diglett combinations. Can I want Noibat from you. Pokeball, let's try. Easy, so easy. Disabling timestamps? What's sample rates? I don't know this information. Was disabling timestamps? Let me try. Okay, this has wind if I do this. Like I know there's wind. Limiter. Yeah, tech support the stream, unfortunate. But we got dig back. I don't know why there's such noise. Okay, let's put the noise removal back on. How about this? Does this kind of work? Yeah. Nickname, no. Unfuse, yeah. No. We need this. You cut out on the high. No. Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. See, it's like terrible. Okay, now it works. It's like the echo removal option is kinda ass. Let's go gambling. Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Okay, what's our levels? 7, 4. We need Spinks to, like, be fused with, like, Noibat or something. I'm gonna put... Oh. No, I wanna go... I wanna put him in the... Ya boy in the PC. Deposit Pokemon. Let's put in Ya boy. Box 1. And then continue box operations now. Pokemon storage. Item storage. Withdraw this. Dang it. Oh, dang it. Okay. Viridian City. Let's see if we can actually do anything. Can we get to the gym leader? I don't think so. Let's see what else. Because we need monies. I think we need to defeat the dude. Lick. Quick attack. Okay, he doesn't have poison point, that's good. Or whatever it's called. Something. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, let's try this battle again. Now that we have improved Pokemon. Nido G. Nido Gay? What? Quick attack. Sand attack. Quick attack again. Lit. I missed. Doesn't matter. Quick attack. Quick attack. Kill. Easy battle. Level 8. Fury swipes. Forget it. Fury swipes? I don't... maybe. Bite counter. Nah. No. It's everywhere. Who is everywhere? Obamna! Don't switch. The evil armpit man was there. He is everywhere. You can't escape him. Rough skin, dang it. Leer. Lick. Oh, Lick is super effective. Rage. Okay, let's do counter. Yeah. Easy. Oh, but, Ursula. We defeat the rival! Look at that monies, we can now fuse. So try training them at some point. Well, I did. Tough trainers, blah blah blah, DNA splicers. Oh, I can take a DNA splicer! Yes! He gave me one. Mine now. Easy. Okay, let's fuse. First, unfuse. Unfuse, dig that. Yes. And I want Noibat and Spinks. Wait, there's more? Heavy Ball. They're just growing on bushes. Heavy Ball. Ah. Let's go this way. We need to heal up again. And then we need to buy another splicer. I want to see the bat Spinks. My dream is to get like Vaporeon or Sylveon or some sort of like evolution. And fuse it with something and make a cute evolution. Buy DNA splicer. We don't have enough! Scam. Scam. Actually, I could sell... Sell Oranberry. That's only 10! I don't have enough. Okay, we need to continue on. We need to get rich. We need monies. What's this way? The OnlyFans didn't sell enough. We're too poor. Sorry. I couldn't make enough money. Were you going to Pokemon League? Okay. Yes. 8 gym leaders. It's Brock. The Boulder Badge. Okay. Let's go. Oh. Hello. Oh, we can't go in. That's to the league, so we can't go. 650, yay! Let's go. Where's the gym? Oh, Pitchy. Chip chip. You don't let me in without 8 badges. Oh, there's another house I could break into. Hello. Shady. 2 types of caterpillar Pokemon. No. Because you told me and you didn't give me anything for it. I don't care about your grandpa. Move out the way. Out of town? Where am I supposed to go? Where's the map? Do I have to go through there and he kicks me out and they're like, oh, wait. You go this way. Route 2. Wait a minute. Bug-type Pokemon are in passion. Fury Cutter. Increase in power and use it multiple times? No, I'm not gonna spend money. Creepy music. Poison Mushroom. Poison Mushroom. Oh, that was 2 Poison Mushrooms. Am I gonna get a Paris? Tiny Mushroom. It's a Paris! I think. What are you? No, you're the Bellsprout. Wah wah. Quick attack. Kill. Spinks, go! You must defeat him. Tackle. Easy, Spinks. Yippee, level 5! Leer. Spooky play. Ooh, spooky. What's over here? Pecha Berry. Oh, battle. Happiny. What do you know? What do you know? I don't know what moves you know. Die. Destroy Tupac in battle. Pokemon. Spinks. Let's see if there's a trainer. Oh, there is a trainer. Pokeball! Oh, it's dark. Pokemon jumped out! Oh. Why not? Quick attack. Quick attack. Again. Okay, this works. Battle. Cause I need one more fuser. And then I'll be good. Bug catcher Jim. If you catch a why not named Josuke? Why Josuke? From JoJo's. Okay, let's do quick attack. Quick attack. We're so much stronger. Yeah, JoJo Part 4, yeah. Spinks, it's your turn. Oh, he has the same haircut. I didn't even notice. I didn't actually notice. We ran. Tackle. Poison sting. Oh, dang it. Hippie? Do you have anything useful to do? Don't poison him. Oh my gosh, it's super effective. Hippie, why would you let yourself do this? Absorb. That did nothing. Hippie, you're gonna die. Hippie, why? Switch in Ursula. Ursula is doing the hard work. Quick attack. Bump, 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 bump. Yay. Okay. Caterpie, no. Quick attack again. I just want money from him. That's why I'm beating him up. No hugs. Yes, money. Ooh. Tiny mushroom. Oh, he's gonna die. Pippi survived? What the heck? How did you survive, Pippi? Pippi goated. I was trying to decide what Ursula creeped me out. Little fella's 4 ears. Ursula! He's so cute! Look at him. He's cute. The dangly ears and the bear ears. 4 means better. Also, hi Jackie Jigsaw. Okay. Pokemon Center. Ah. Thank you for waiting. We restored your Pokemon to full health. We hope to see you again. Oh, there's the map. So this is one way. Computer City is this way. Route 4 is this way. Okay. More is not always better. No! He's so cute though. Because the creature is stubby. But I like the stubby. He's like a pug. And just as genetically modified. Okay, let's grab the fuser. Pippi, on the other hand, has no brain cells. No. No! I said no! 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 I kept pressing A. Has no kneecaps? No, he does. He does. Fuse the Pokemon. Noibat, fuse with Spinks. Spinks. Oh, that's cool. I want... Oh, Electric Dragon might be cool. Even though I want him to keep his main form. Let's do Electric Dragon. Let's fuse them. Spinks. You are a sacrifice. I honor you. Or something like that. Oh, that's kind of cute. Spat. Spat. Oh. Oh. Spat. Yeah, I like this one. He's a spat. Frisk rivalry. Lonely? Or mild? I'll do lonely. Combine movesets, learn Leer. Spinks. Nice, we have a Spinks. I think that's cute. Let's travel this way, I think. That's Route 22. That's not where I'm trying to go. What's this? Ah. Ah. Nothing. There's no way to check a map. No. Okay. This game too slow. I didn't know that. This way. Creepy music. Oh, there's a trainer, and there's also a Pokemon. Caterpie. He has a real-life equivalent that looks just like it, and it's the Spice Bush Caterpillar. It's so cute, and even it has the shiny form as it gets grown. It turns yellow and, like, goldish, and, like, then turns orange. It's very cute. Tiny mushroom. Give me money. Give me money. Youngster Sean. Metana. Oh, that. He's so nonchalant. Look at him. Black. Quick attack. Did you just get cool bug facts? Yes. Pink lemonade moths. Oh, like the what is it called? Like the rose something moth? Rose bush moth? Something? I don't remember. It's like pink and yellow. Quick attack. This is what happens. Lit. Yeah. Defeated. Give me money. Yes, you're rich. Timer ball. There's an egg up there. Go Ursula. Quick attack. Easy! Look at how easy that was. How am I supposed to get there? Oh, with cut. Dang it. Caterpie. Oh, and it also does flick its tongue. Like a fake tongue that looks like its antennas. To scare off predators, so it looks like a snake. Mushroom hat! Yeah, we have a mushroom head. Doop boop 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 boop. Happy Knee destroy. Destroy. We are so powerful. Did he pick up the rough egg? No, because I can't reach it. It needs cut. I don't have a TM. Poison mushroom. Battle me. Do you want to have another one? No. Yes, fight me. Down by Mama's house. Oh, I didn't know that. I'll need to go back eventually. Weedle. Doopy-doo. Catterbat. Let's try out Sphinx. Sphinx needs to level up. Spinky. Oh, Catterbat's cute. Supersonic. Tackle. Wrestle his jimmies. Oh no. Supersonic. Oh, that did a lot of damage. Oh, it did confusion. Tackle. And he can use absorb. That's not fair. Spinky, you gotta do this. Yeah. Almost leveled up. Dang it. 96 bucks. Poison mushroom. Poison mushroom. Nothing. Bum 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 bum. I want dinner at Red Lobster. True. Quick attack. I want those like cheese bread things that they have. The rolls, the cheddar biscuits. Those are like addicting. YouTube stream? Oh, hold on. Wait. What? Wait, why is it all not working? Streaming, sending data. Okay. It should be working now. I'll have to upload the VOD later. Dang it. Okay. Hedge Pikachu? Hell yeah. Web, Pechaberry. For the YouTube thumbnail, okay. I in the thing. Quick attack. I hate onions. I apologize. Ow, my butt hurts. I've been sitting in this position for too long. Faint? No. Yes. Let's battle. I want the monies. Please give me monies. Cats are gay. The witch. Spinks, you can do it. Spinks, you got it. Spinky. That's why they make you cry. Onion. Okay, check DM. Okay. Hold on, can I... Let me save this. Let me save this. Tupac Obamna. Ah! I'll save it as ah. Umi. This is gonna be the thumbnail. Oh my god, it's covering the stream. There you go. Obamna. Obamna battle. Tupac. That's a good thumbnail though. Hold on, my game! Okay, Spinks, you gotta do this. Tackle. You gotta win, Spinks. Okay, switch. Pippi, your turn. Pippi, both of you gotta win. String shot. He's so evil. Evil, I know. He's terrible. Come on. Tackle. Tackle. Yeah, level up. Level 6. Okay. Let's go this way. Oh, hello. Big mushrooms. They look exactly the same as poison mushrooms. Poison mushrooms. Okay. I have too many poison mushrooms though. What's over here? Pewter City. We need to... Oh, what is this? Do you know what I'm doing? No. Strange bird Pokemon. It's almost sucking them dry. I don't know how to get rid of it. Pink flowers? No. I don't want to do your dirty work. Heal. We need a heal. What is this? A manhole cover. Okay. Rest. Let's put Diglett away. Pokemon storage. After stream, we gotta take your mic out back and beat him up. Yeah! I'm sorry. My mic. Deposit. Box 1. No. What do you have for me? Did you check out the museum yet? Yes. Which one was your favorite? I don't have one. Match bitrate in OBS. Settings output. Okay. Settings output. Audio. Audio bitrate. 320. Okay. Balancing in video settings. I don't know if I can adjust that right now. Yeah, it won't let me adjust. Disable timestamps. Okay. Okay, these are complicated words. If you mean removing timestamp overlays from recordings. Okay, let me see. Yeah, it doesn't have device timestamps on. Let's see if this one does. No. Yeah, it doesn't have timestamps on. That's weird. Then it's witchcraft. Ah! Yeah, I can't adjust the bitrate yet. Which is one. Yeah, unfortunate. Unfortunate. What's in here? Hello, people. Poo-poo. Well, Team Rocket is at Mount Moon. I'm on the phone. Scram. Evil, evil people. Stop by a hotel. Okay, that's interesting. How much money do I have? Can I fuse more Pokemon? Pippi, I might need to unfuse you. Because Pippi's not doing so good. Ooh, who's this? Whoa. Oh. Spear hat. I didn't want to do a quest. She's the... Giovanni has no motion, she's the blue gentleman. Oh. Hello, person. Need to buy an antidote to heal my poor Pokemon. Oh no, the barking. The barking has started. Okay, luckily you can't really hear it. Rock Gem. Nest Ball. I don't need these things. I'll also move my mouse. Sell? Let's sell these poison mushrooms. Poison mushroom. Let's sell all of these. Hey, what is this? Boost the power of ghost type moves. Let's sell these. Hey, we are rich. Nice. La criatura. Criatura. A Pokemon trainer brought it back this special flute. Oh, interesting. Well, I don't think we're ready to beat the gym later, though. Rocks. Let's go here and let's see what's here. Oh, Rattata. Level 2. Okay, Pippi or Sphinx. Sphinx is lower level, so let's do Sphinx. Sphinx. Yes. Three XP. That's it? That's all. What? Okay. Hotel. What's needed here? Well, this music's interesting. Hello, person. Top floor. Okay, let's see. 50 for a room. No. I'm gonna go to the top floor. Okay. journal to... Okay. Quest journal. Key item. Completed quest 0. Interesting. Is there people? Free bed. Did I earn any clothes? I don't think I did. Oh, there's just people. Fully evolved bug-type Pokemon. Yes. Dang it. What about you? Mushroom stew? For tiny mushrooms? No. I didn't want to accept that quest. You could really use a fire type. Yeah. No. You guys suck. All these quests suck. What's this way? Tiny patch of grass. I wonder if I could find another Quilava or something. Quick attack. Come on, give me something good. These are not good. Spinks. Tackle. Oh, dang it. We're... Spinks. Spinks. Pippi. Smash or pass. Ooh, that might be fun. Pippi? No, don't fall for the tail whip. Pippi, come on, tackle. Absorb. Yeah! That only did 2! I should have used synthesis. Well... God dang it. Pippi, all these Shinxes are dying. Okay. Pippi looks like he eats children. No, he doesn't. He just has no thoughts behind his eyes. He is an innocent being. Okay, I need a heal. All my Pokemon are dead. Okay. New Google Doc soon. Pippi eats kids. No! And says slurs. I don't think he can speak English. Or any language. He says Pokemon slurs, maybe. But I can't train him out of that. He just is. No! Pippi! Pippi's not responsible. Pippi has no responsibility. Nothing whatsoever. Meowdo? Oh, that's kind of crazy. Quick attack. Quick attack. Oh, and bite. Quick attack again. I like quick attack, apparently. Pippi has done nothing wrong. Oh, I have to battle. I pressed A. Ah. Ursula. Ursula. Come on, just kill him. Yes! Oh no. I didn't get any money. I didn't get any money. Oh, dang it. Ah. Metapod. When you beat her, ask her if she's into hot single dads. Sure. She didn't give me any money. You have to make her pay for your date or whatever. Quick attack again. Catarens. Spinks, you can do it. Spinks, I believe in you. I can fix her. What are these words? Catarens. Tickle. Catarens is cute. No, my tackle isn't doing enough. Pokemon. Pippi. Pippi, you need to do damage. Bug bite. Pippi, you failure! Pippi! Ursula. Fine. If that's what you want. My poor Pippi. They keep just getting demolished every battle. Weens. Hey, Gloomy Smalls, it's your chance. Look at Gloomy Smalls. That is such a weird snake. Roll out. Bite. Oh, that did a lot of damage. Kill. Yes. Oh no, I got money. Whatever. Let's go around because I don't want to battle. Ah! I don't want to battle another person. Yeah, Hoppip's not very good. I know that now. It wasn't good there, it wasn't good then, or now. Bye. DNA splicer. 2 DNA splicers. Pokeball. Pippi's sabotaging you. I think so too. I think it's intentional. You know, he uses his lack of brain to deceive me into thinking he is innocent. He is not. Pippi, it is... I am disappointed in you. I am very disappointed in you, so you are getting unfused. Unfuse. You are gonna go into the computer, I guess. Deposit. Go, Hoppip. Withdraw Pokemon? Should I try with your boy? Pippi is guilty of many crimes, yes. So many crimes. Crime. Okay, let's withdraw. We are gonna try to do... this. No. We're gonna fuse... No. Okay, Pokemon. Your boy. Fuse. Fuse with Shinx. That is horrifying. I'm not doing that one. Yes, let's do this one. Cause that looked awful. That's cute! Yanks! Yanks! Hello, Yanks! You are cute! Mummy. Let's do rivalry and then... No, I like to keep my attacks up. Combine moveset. Disable? What does disable do? Prevents the target from using the move. Let's get rid of... yeah, he's kinda dead. Human soul. Fused with a cute lion. Maybe Lear. Okay. Let's go into battle once more and then I'll have to end stream. Let's try this guy. There we go. I like shorts, they're comfy and easy to wear. Why are you telling me this? Why? Hidada. Oh, that's kind of scary. I don't like the gaping open mouth. Okay, first off, Spinks. Or your boy. Let's do your boy. Knows you don't wear safety shorts. Maybe I don't. Hehe. Heckle. Your boy! No! Maybe it's the shinks in him that's ruining everything. Spinks. Heckle. Why? Why does it do so less damage? Switch in. Literally, I'm like destroyed. And the gust. Literally, that's all I needed to like kill me, basically. Stop it! Stop it now, bitch. Stop. Gloomy Smalls. Roll out. Why would you miss? Child. Thank you. Yay! Money. Oh, my Pokemon are not the best. I'm trying. They're cute, but they're not the best. Okay, I'm gonna look real quick. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hold on. I need to also check Twitch real quick. Twitch. Stream manager. Okay. I need to prepare for a raid this time because I keep forgetting to raid. Yes, I'm going to raid. Thank you guys so much for watching. All my links are either in the description below or in my about section. So, with that, I'm going to send you guys elsewhere. What should I call you guys besides goons? I don't know. I'll just call you guys goons. Let's see. Let's do... Let's do a raid on Neon. And with that, I'll see you there. In, let's say... Oh. Sending. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Raiding Gooners raid. Oh, and let's see. Bye-bye. We have come